Hi and hello, football fans. It's your old pal Dave Dameshek. I hope all's well wherever you are. Welcome to Studio 66 and the Dave Dameshek football program. Even after Super Bowl 50, we are presented by McDonald's. We got a crew in here in Studio 66. A little out of sorts, really, because it was a long week in the Bay Area. Something that's helped stabilize my blood sugar level is McDonald's all-day breakfast. I go get myself an Egg McMuffin. I feel a little bit better.
It looks like it.
I don't need that. You don't need to start in with the insults. Fine, I gained maybe 27 or 31 pounds.
But they're good pounds.
Yes, indeed. We'll talk about all of it and what we saw on the gridiron in Santa Clara, California, on what couldn't have been a grander day. First, let's say hello to everybody. Oh, before I do that, let me tell you, of course, what do you think we're going to do on the show? It's a football program, after all. We're going to review Super Bowl 50. We're going to talk about the top defenses that we've seen. Obviously, the Broncos now certainly in a single season have to be in that conversation, as well as the top defenders we've ever seen. That's going to be juicy stuff. Plus, of course, like I say, our time was gay up in the Bay Area for a week, and we are going to do a little slideshow and converse about that. You want to hear these stories because I, for one, I guess not fly on the wall, but I, the experiences I had, especially on Sunday, actually out for drinking some grapes with Ike in the middle of the week and Handsome Hank and Matt Money Smith. Really some great stories and some neat stuff that I saw, and we're going to look back at that. Let's say hello now to everybody joining me in 66, starting off with our resident Miami Dolphins fan all the way from London, England, and all the way open with his shirt. Well, I don't understand that move, Handsome Hank. Let's say hello to him. It's Handsome Hank.
He's handsome, he's handsome, he's handsome.
Hello, Handsome. How are you?
I am very well indeed, thank you, Dave.
Are you hot or something? Why is your shirt so open?
It is 84 degrees outside.
It is 84 degrees outside in midwinter in California, but no, every time I've ever been on this show, my shirt has always been
He's
open.
giving them a preview.
Right.
Oh,
Who's they?
A sneak peek.
just a preview.
Maurice, in the meantime, Maurice and I are the ones getting the sneak peek.
You're fine.
I don't think either one of us asked for it. Speaking of Maurice, let's say hello to him now, the Jaguar, the Raider, the Bruin, and our pal, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Hey.
Oh.
Straight out of Oakland, that's where he's born and grown. Drafted by the Jaguar, addicted to the end zone. Now he's all with Dameshek.
You know what?
Yeah, that's
You know what I don't like about this? He gonna start laughing when my segment come up.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Hello, Maurice. How was your time in the Bay? Back home for you.
It was wonderful, Shek. We got a chance to get to know each other a little bit better, I thought. We had a good time, hung out a little bit, worked.
Oh, I thought all you did was party all week,
yes,
Maurice.
that's
That's what some of our colleagues told us when we returned.
Yeah, with no partying.
Yeah, all we did was what did you do all week? You guys just went out and had grapes and glad-handed with celebrities. Right. One thing you did get to do though was watch your cousin, and you were true to the family. Family's what matters most, everybody. And you predicted and were correct in T.J. Ward, your cousin, 43, playing a big role, too.
And he could have been the MVP if he just knew how to stay on his feet.
You're right, actually.
I had to text him after, like, bro, we could have won. We could have had the trophy. I'd have been on the field if we got the trophy. Tripping.
Is that how that works?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I raised him as a pup in this game.
I see.
He's another one of my young pups. There's like a bunch of them running around. I get my kids together, get them out the street.
He did speak very highly of you when I caught up with him at media night. Boy, that seems like about 6 weeks ago to me now. Boy, it is a great time, but it is a marathon anyway. Good for you, Maurice, and your family to see T.J. Ward get that. And then lastly, let's say hello to the 12-year Pittsburgh Steeler, number 24. It's Ike Taylor, everybody.
Oh!
What is this? Oh, my.
Oh.
Woo!
Whoa.
I love it.
Hey.
Hey.
God I like the old one better. Give me the old Ike Taylor one. I want to hear that. Let's just compare and contrast.
Number 24 is in the house. Ike Taylor's on the show.
Hey,
See, I like that one better.
you would.
No, I like the other one.
How about the range of the one-man house band, Dick
Right.
Banks? Now everybody should feel happy.
I think
Well,
everyone's got it now.
Can I be a little greedy?
Yes.
Can we have a song with just me and Ike in there?
What? Just you.
I
You
want
got
my own show. I
you
want
got
a
an
song with Ike.
individual one, and Ike got an individual, and now it's got to be Ike and Maurice song.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
called
All right.
the remix.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
get back to work, one-man house band, Dick
Thank
Banks.
you, though. It's been amazing.
Boy, oh
That was-
boy,
Hey, that
talk
was
about
kinda
greedy. You guys are.
Hey, Dave, can I
gotta
get a
take
song
one.
with you then?
Yeah, I guess that's.
That's
what
how it works, is it?
awesome. We got
I see the division.
Yeah,
that
I
Ike
see
and
what's
Maurice
going
are
on. We
trying
tried to commingle here, and now you guys separated us.
Hey, we got tapeworms in our stomach. We're greedy.
I need to
never
get
enough.
me one of those.
It's never enough.
I hear if you get a tapeworm, it takes off like 10, 15 pounds like that.
Immediately.
Oh, I need one of those. How do I order a tapeworm? Let me know where to get that.
Go online.
All right, let's get into it now. Very important stuff, and of course, Super Bowl review is where we'll start. And I'll tell you what, I thought that the Seahawks have run Marshawn Lynch at the end of 49 got tired after about 12 hours. Oh, I'm pining for that conversation now because since the Super Bowl ended, the only thing it seems that people can talk about is how Cam Newton comported himself after losing the biggest game in his life. Where do I start? I'm going to start with you, Maurice. What do you make of all this kerfuffle about how he handled himself in the postgame?
It's crazy that he gets to run the blow, but Michael Jordan handled himself that way. He was a winner, and when they lost, he wasn't the nicest guy to talk to. Peyton Manning, same way. When they lose, he's not the greatest guy to talk to.
Peyton
Belichick-
Manning, let's just say, I know other people are pointing it out, but I was all over this immediately
Yeah, you
after the confusion about this. Peyton Manning ran off the field and didn't shake Drew Brees'
Right.
hand.
During the
Cam
game.
Newton did.
Yeah.
Cam Newton shook his hand and was smiling with him.
Yep.
It was sad. He lost a big game.
I think Tom Brady does the same thing. They get mad. They give you short answers. Okay, and it's just when you're a competitor and you're a winner, and in your mind that you feel like you're supposed to win all the time and you lose. That's what happens. That's what I'm tired of America wanting us to be like. Oh well, it's okay. It's never okay to lose. You should never be okay with losing. Period. And if you're okay with losing, like Cam said, then you're a loser.
I don't understand. Deion Sanders said it. I've heard him. I've heard a million people say you're the leader of the corporation now, and you got to have a different face on that. I'm not sure what's wrong about being disappointed about if you are Superman, the league MVP, you didn't have your best game. He's bummed out. He feels responsible for his teammates not doing. And by the way, you know what else he didn't do? Unlike Peyton Manning, who I remember after the 05 divisional round game against Pittsburgh. What are you doing, Ike?
Yeah, I'm doing. I see all the top defenses of all time, but I don't see the 2008.
All right, we'll put them on there, but we're kibitzing about another matter right now, Ike.
I'm listening.
For
I can
audio
multitask.
listeners, Ike is prepping for later on.
Yes.
He's on his cell
I'm
phone.
multitasking.
Now listen,
I'm
Ike.
getting ready for the next.
After the 05 divisional round game against your Pittsburgh Steelers, Peyton Manning promptly went to the post-game presser and said, well, I'm trying to be a good teammate here, but our O-line didn't give me any time. Cam Newton didn't do that. He didn't say Jericho Cotchery should have caught that pass at the 5, and if he had, the game would have turned out much differently. Hey, our special teams allowed the biggest punt return when really we had flipped the field and we were making our push. All of a sudden, that turned the game back around in the Broncos' favor. Cam didn't do any of that.
Cam just said nope. Yep.
No, I can't.
Before we talk to Ike, because I want to mix it up, because I feel like you're going to defend Cam here. Handsome. I don't know what your opinion is.
Look, I agree with you. He didn't throw anyone under the bus. And remember at the start of the season when we were all talking about how the Panthers even going to win a game, basically, and we talked about their offensive line and their receivers. And in the end, it's ironic that they got the whole way through the season and surprised us. And then when it came down to it, it wasn't Cam that lost that game. And he had every reason to feel bad about it because he's the leader of the team. But he got let down by his receivers, and that offensive line got completely outplayed by the Broncos. But whether Cam, he doesn't have to take all the blame. Maybe the one thing he could have done was just sit there and answer some of those questions like other quarterbacks have done before. But I can completely understand in that big spot. I don't think I'd be willing to talk to a bunch of media who want me to.
I don't understand
point
the standard.
fingers or tell everyone it's my fault.
Ike, is there some standard that I'm unaware of? But everybody promptly announced that, well, Cam's not doing what you're supposed to do. Who has laid out for you? I know you're not a quarterback, and the quarterback is apparently held to a much higher standard than the rest of the team. But are you aware of anybody getting in? Burt Lawton of the Steelers PR, the head of their PR, a delightful man who we got to hang out with a little bit. That's a story that we'll share in a minute. But does Burt Lawton go to Ben Roethlisberger after a bad game in the playoffs and say, like, now remember, Ben, you have to answer questions and be nice about it, and don't be sad when you're up there? I mean, who decided that's the standard?
I mean, me and MJD was talking about this earlier. Like, I've been in Cam's situation. Like, against that Broncos game, like, on the line, overtime, first person that scored a touchdown or wins the game. So I was that guy. But I tore that Denver Broncos locker room up. Like I tore 2 lockers up.
Did you?
I tore 2 lockers up, calmed myself down, understood I still had to face the media, and I talked to them. Did I want to? Nah. But as a professional, that's one of your jobs. And people and teammates and what it looks like, the media, they respect you more when you're faced with adversity and know how to handle it. So y'all understand Cam and why he's mad, but I'm like, Cam, we've been dabbing the whole season. And the reason why you've been dabbing, you've been crushing everybody. And you telling everybody, hey, man, stop me. If y'all don't like this first down, if y'all don't like me dabbing, me dancing, stop me from getting in the end zone.
But isn't that what he said? He said they outplayed us. What do you want me to tell you? They did. They did stop me.
You get to a point and you finally have a defense that stops you. Everything you do. And now it's not going your way. I don't see the pearly whites.
Well, that would be weird, though. Wouldn't that be more
my
off-putting
thing
if he
is-
was like, oh, well, we had a great season anyway?
So if you listen to Chris Harris Jr. in the back, he's telling on the other side
Told the game plan.
the blueprint, like, hey, this is we just keep Cam in the pocket. We wanted Cam to throw, not run. Wanted him to run, not throw. Like, they came out with the blueprint. So now all of a sudden you mad? Like, as a professional, you got to take the good with the bad. By the way, that's life.
Well, what would you want his reaction to be, though? What did he say?
Got it. Walking off, you got to take it and eat it.
Right.
Just point blank, period, man. It's just like being a parent, man. Being a football player is like being a parent. It ain't going to go your way all the time. And when it doesn't go your way all the time, man, you got to sit down and take it and eat it, because when it's going your way all the time.
Didn't he, though? How did he not take it? He said, they beat us. What do you want me to say to you?
No.
What he said.
Did you hear Chris Harris in the background of the audio?
Yeah.
That's the reason why he left.
Right.
So my thing as a player, like, dang, you've been telling me to stop you. As a player, I ain't even talking about the media part. As a player, you've been telling me to stop you. We stop you, and now you hear what I'm saying, and you feel some kind of way about it? Come on.
I was going to say this.
But let me just ask this real quick, because I've heard different things about this. You've been in 3 Super Bowls. Are the post-game pressers in that close of proximity usually? Andrew Siciliano said it's always that way at the Super Bowl. You always can hear the other team talking.
I couldn't hear.
You couldn't hear.
I couldn't hear a thing. You know what?
Because that was weird. I was watching it Sunday night and thinking, what? What is that other noise going on?
That's very weird.
So it is not usual to be able to hear the other team celebrating while you're talking about
that's
the worst
very
moment of your pro career.
Ike, you told us about when you played Green Bay, and you were like, you never had the confetti fall and it not be black and yellow, right? And how you felt. Like, you were like sick.
The same thing. So I was able to go through 2. Went through 2, man. I seen them rope off everybody. Like, excuse me, I seen my family come out, my son come out, my wife come out, my mom and them, they come out on the field, man. And I seen the other team, walking off, some just standing there, just looking at the confetti, some crying, but I never knew till we lost the one in Dallas. And it didn't hit me till I got back in the locker room. Like, you see the other team, they family coming on the field, they roping you off, like gradually telling you got to leave. And
they come clear you off.
No, for real.
Hey,
Shek,
beat it, guy.
Shook Coach Tom Lahan. He good game. Got back there to the locker room. Had my arms around TP, man, and took a shower, just sitting there, took a hot shower, long shower, just like, it still didn't hit me. But when we got on the bus,
Sick.
it just happened at once. Like, I just lost a loved one.
Mhm.
That's how you felt losing the Super Bowl. Like, I just lost a loved one because you don't know if you coming back. That's what people gotta understand. Yeah, we can say, man, they got a good opportunity, meaning the Panthers to go back, but there's no telling if they're going back. Just look at the Buffalo Bills.
Look at Dan Marino.
No,
I mean, that's your
Look at the
comparison.
Buffalo Bills.
Dan Marino was in his second year.
Right.
Was the MVP. Had an all-time season in '84. Everybody declared, oh well, he'll be back.
And he walked
Cam
off the
Newton's
field.
after 5 years now. MVP, all-time season. Cam Newton is
guarantee.
lucid. I'm sure he is
Yeah.
thinking to
And-
himself, hey, it's not easy to get here.
No guarantee.
But I think that's why what he said on the like, it's good for people to see the negative part about losing. Like because it's not cool. Like losing is not okay. It should never be okay in life. Like someone has to do it, yes,
Right.
but when you lose, it's supposed to make you work harder to go back and try to win. So when I hear people say, "Well, I don't want my kid to be like that," well, then you don't want your kid to be a winner then. Because you have to go through some type of adversity in order to like. So I was asked a question at the combine. Someone was like, "Do you rather you love to win or do you hate to lose?" And I was like looking like I was
Really?
thinking in my head like I hate losing. Like I still to this day like I remember crying after games in Jaguar like in the gear like sitting in the locker room like a baby. And people are like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I hate this feeling because to me like why work those how many ever hours they worked to get to this point to play the way you played, right? To get dominated the way you got dominated, you feel helpless. And you don't want
And by the way, again, it bears repeating. In the moment, professional integrity, professional respect, he put a smile on and went over and shook Peyton Manning's hand. What's more important, that or answering inessential questions from curmudgeons in a locker room?
The one
Who cares
thing, the
what
one
he says
thing
to
is,
the media?
I agree with you, but the one thing is, remember, there are people who have been. We've laughed about them, but there are people who've been hating on Cam all season long. There was
Just give him a reason.
the women who were writing those letters about what an example he sets, and then before that there was a narrative, and again, it's meaningless and it was made up by the media. But it was Cam. It was always sulking in press conferences. Got his hood over. He's got a towel over his head, and people made a big deal out of that. So he probably should have understood that him doing it again in the Super Bowl, regardless of the feeling, was going to, people will be talking about it the next week.
I kind of
continue
think,
to talk
you know
about
what
it.
I think? He said on Tuesday that, what is today? Today's Tuesday. That's how turned around. I don't know what day it is. He said on Tuesday morning that, hey, I'm on record as being a sore loser. Right. I think, legitimately, to your point, Handsome, I think his point on I think there is I mean it was raw and that was his real feeling. I'm super bummed out. I just lost the biggest game of my career. I'm sad and I'm not going to hide it. I think in his head he probably was thinking in that moment, this is a virtue. I'm not going to put on a smile.
I agree.
I'm devastated. I'm not going to be a phony.
Yeah.
I wear it. When I'm joyous on the football field for doing
wear it.
well, I wear my joy.
Exactly.
I'm devastated right now. I'm not going to put on a show for you because you want me to.
I agree, but then we know that there were people, and we talked about it for 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. There were people who were waiting for this moment because they want to hate.
And now they're having it in their
they're having that moment.
I want people to understand. Remember what he did when they lost to Atlanta? He did the same thing.
Yeah.
He stayed in the locker room, didn't talk to anyone. Remember, everyone had to wait. The buses had to wait because he was sick. To me, when we're in a sport, a competitive sport, we talk about it all the time. Ike, you playing black tie out there in basketball, or we doing bowling, and you start to see the competitor come out in you. When you're a competitor, you don't play to have fun. You play to win, regardless of what it is. Anything I'm gonna do, I do it to win. And when I lose, even on when I'm on the Madden show and I lose, they know it's not gonna be. It's not cool. They know that I'm gonna get back in the lab and I'm gonna do everything I gotta do to get back to win.
You've barely spoken to Black Tie since
still
he
won't
defeated
still
you
won't
in Madden.
won't talk to him. It's always negative, ain't it?
Well, he wants to ask you something right now.
Go ahead.
Yes, Black Tie.
I do. TJ Ward, your cousin, like you said, did come out and say a couple of things about the Panthers and Cam. Here's one quote. They want to be famous. We want to be champions. They want to be rappers and backup dancers. We want to play football.
He's a champ. He can say whatever he wants. He's a champion.
He won.
Yeah,
That's all.
and that's
They're
the
talking
thing.
stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's what you're again. That's why everybody wants to win because when you win, you can say whatever you
You can
want.
say what you want.
Yeah, whether no one's not gonna say anything. Now, if you lose, You can't say anything. You got to sit there and watch them celebrate. So, again, when you talk about Cam, you're right. When it's good, yeah, it's great. His highs are way up here, and his lows are way down. But that's why he's not. That's the difference between him and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's always going to be even kill, but his highs are going to be like here.
But
They
he's
gonna be really
robotic.
high.
I mean,
Right.
he gets his emotions from Google.
But
You
what
know,
I-
he goes
Bing.
on
Bang.
Apparently.
Bing or whatever it
But,
is.
but that's what I'm saying though. So his highs aren't going to be as high as Cam, right? But his lows aren't going to be as low either. And so some people want that. Some people like that. Like Pete Carroll, he likes it. That's what he wants. Other guys,
just got to understand with Cam. Just as a professional, you just got to finish the process.
yeah.
Like I understand you pissed off. You can talk to me as bad as you want to talk to me when you lose.
Just talk to me.
Just talk to me. Don't walk off on me. Just talk to me.
I guess he walked
rough.
off, but it was the exact same questions, and in the midst of
That-
Chris Harris talking directly behind.
That's what got him.
Yeah.
It wasn't the questions the media people was asking him. It was what he was hearing in the background. Because if you pay attention, he kind of slid like,
Yeah, exactly.
oh, that was a game plan? That's what they saying?
Yeah, literally, you could hear him.
Man,
you
I'm
could see
gone.
him listening. All right, real quick, because I want to celebrate Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware specifically in victory here, and I also thought John Elway's this one's for Pat completing that circle from
That was cool.
1998 when
How
Pat
many-
Bowlen
how
stood
many
up in there and said
people's-
this one's for John. I thought that was just the best.
How many people? I want to say where were we at when people were like, he's gonna like they were like saying like, what is Elway gonna say? And everyone's like, he's gonna say this is for Pat, and so I mean, it's kind of people knew that was coming though.
I didn't I hadn't calculated.
I hadn't
that.
got to that.
no,
I thought it might be this one for Peyton.
In fact,
or-
Handsome and I were standing next to each other and say he's going to pass the torch and say this one's for Peyton. Instead, he did even cooler. He completed and honored Pat Bowlen. Ike, real quick though, I want to talk about what was your reaction? Cam himself says my leg was bad. I didn't dive in there. I highly doubt in a 6-point game, given the 5 months that preceded this and the fight that it was to get to this spot, I highly doubt that Cam Newton decided, yeah, I'm going to quit here. It's down 6 in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. What did you think of that loose ball, though? Why didn't he dive for that?
MJD and I was talking about this again. There go your Drew Brees effect. When he was in San Diego, same thing. Reaching out for a ball. Reached out for the ball, man, tore his whole shoulder up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you pay attention to Tom Brady kind of reached out for a ball too in the playoffs, and it didn't look good at all. Like I thought something was going to be wrong with Tom Brady's arm. But man, when you're in that kind of situation, man, it's like you the quarterback, so I get it. And MJD said it earlier, like when the New York Giants was playing.
They were scrimmaging somebody. I want to say it was the Redskins.
When it was scrimmaging the Redskins and they got in the fight, Eli ran the other way. As he should. You don't want to be no part
Right.
of that. Yeah, we can talk about, it's the Super Bowl and you fumble the ball, you got to get the ball back. But, man, I don't want to be in the offseason trying to rehab my arm because somebody tore it off me trying to get the ball.
Exactly, and you're told probably as a quarterback, all year long, whether it's in practice or in a game, like don't get yourself hurt trying to do something. I don't know how you switch
Well,
that
they
in the
tell
last
us.
minute of a Super
But
Bowl.
he seeks contact. Cam's
No,
not
but
shy
that's
about
a different-
colliding
It's
with people.
It's a difference between seeking contact between jumping over.
Right,
Running
when you
and
have the
scoring
ball.
points, and a ball muffing out your hand and everybody's around.
Do you
That's
know
an
what goes on
opportunity.
in those piles?
That's an opportunity for somebody to basically take you out.
Mhm.
Because they don't want to see Cam. When Cam is going full speed, not too many people want to see
Like,
him.
tell them them piles are real.
We
Yeah,
should put Shek in
those
one of
piles-
those piles.
Those
I would-
piles are not. They're not.
Nothing
first
fun
of all,
about them
There's
piles.
nothing fun about those piles. Two, I've remembered every I want to say Pop Warner all the way to the league. If there's a fumble, you never see the quarterback in there unless he fumbles, he's getting a sack and it comes back
Right.
to him. But he's never running to it because it's bad. But those piles are bad, man. Like
I know
and
you've
I've
told
seen
me about
guys,
things that you've grabbed in there.
No, I don't know. I try to grab the ball. That's all I try to grab.
Is that true, Maurice?
That's it.
You know I don't like jive.
I don't jive. I've seen somebody's fingers try to go other places, and I've had a guy put his hand in there and try to like scratch my eyes out. But that's just kind of how it is. But as a quarterback, think if you're going in there with your throwing hand and somebody dislocates one of your fingers.
I hear. To me, in fact, somebody should see. He needs savvy representation like Dameshek. If Cam would have talked to me, I would say, even if that's the case, just say that you thought that you were reading where the ball was and you thought DeMarcus Ware might pop it out and you were reading where the bounce might go. That would have been the smart thing to say.
I thought you didn't like jive.
Well, yeah, no. See, don't fist bump him for that, Ike. I don't like it being thrown in my face.
Don't do him that.
Bitten by my own snake. All right, fine. Now let's talk about, to me, as somebody who loves the Super Bowl history, I said late in the fourth quarter, make like Super Bowl 12. Harvey Martin and Randy White were two dominant Dallas Cowboys against the Denver Broncos, coincidentally, and they got co-MVPs. Only time it's ever happened in Super Bowl history. I thought DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller should have gotten the MVP, but fine. So they didn't. Von Miller, an all-time destructive performance, including the title game against Tom Brady and then against Cam Newton. I mean, it was, Ike and Maurice, I don't know, Handsome, if you remember the 85 Bears, but
that's my first.
It had that
first
effect
Super
of
Bowl
like, well, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. They're all over me, kind of thing for two games. For 120 minutes, I've never seen two high-end offenses, the Patriots and completely different offenses, have no ability to do anything to handle that pass rush. Ike?
It's Von. And the reason why I'm on my phone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at these stats. It's Von, man. The man got 60 sacks. And, of course, since 2011, he got a total of 60 sacks. Since 2011, again, he has a total of 60.
And he's been shelved for a while with injury and suspension.
No,
so that's
not only that.
2013, he only played 9 games and he had 5 sacks.
Just remember this, though. Remember, he played linebacker a couple years ago, too, in that 4-3 system. Yep. So he wasn't rushing all the time. He was only rushing when they called blitzes. Von Miller, and this is the reason I say this. What he did, and I remember before the Super Bowl, we were talking. I said, Michael Orr has to have a big game or other for the win.
You did.
Because I knew the other tackle wasn't going to be worth anything. So
and that proved to be right.
They were abusing both of them. They both were getting abused. And so that's what it ended up coming down to is Von Miller just went out there and he just took the game over. He just had
And it meant also that they couldn't deploy Greg Olsen as much in the passing game, and he's really their most dangerous weapon or their most consistent pass target, and you couldn't – and it's still – no matter, and by the way, I said the one thing I got right about this Super Bowl was the Broncos have no shot if they don't get a defensive touchdown, and immediately they got one. And I said, what happens if it gets to be 10-0 Broncos? It'll be interesting to see, and that's exactly where we found ourselves. And, but I mean, Von Miller with the strip sacks, and, the other thing he did early a couple of times is Cam gets loose, and there's really no accounting for that, and you can shadow him all you want, but almost always the difference making of number one out there against almost any team is that when things break down is his ability to cover a ton of ground with his legs. He all of a sudden can run around and he can be deep. He can be he can be 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden he's running up the sideline and killing the defense. Von Miller made 2 big defensive plays early in the game, tackling him just before Cam got the first down. And all of a sudden, early in the game, I thought, ooh, this is a little bit different. If they're not going to – if Von Miller is so fast that he's going to prevent Cam from making those plays that break down and making those first – I thought that had to get in Cam's head a little bit. Like, whoa, I always get this first down.
The most versatile defensive lineman / outside linebacker. Like, you can line them up anywhere. We like to talk about J.J. Watt. But now, man, we got to start giving this man props because he covered Jericho Cotchery on that deep play
in the slot.
Yeah. So I don't know if any other D lineman can do that. Like this dude, Wi-Fi again. He's just out of this world right now, man. Von is a unique individual, and the thing I like about Von is everybody likes him. Like you saw him on TV dancing with the coaches. Like he makes everybody comfortable. You can just tell he's just a down to earth, genuine, good guy. He just so happened to be real great at what he does. He's always ball searching. Every time he going for a sack, he looking for that ball. He's not trying to destroy a quarterback. I'm gonna get this sack and I'm gonna get this ball, and that's how they wind up scoring on defense. But when you got a guy who's just so savvy, so quick, so versatile, that's why I say, man, you got to pay this man $120.
Yeah, he's about to be a very, very rich man.
Yeah,
No question.
Well, you said it best. I mean, he can cover receivers in the slot. He can rush the passer. He can play linebacker. He can play. I've seen him rush over a guard and get sacks. So he can do it all.
He makes that defensive line happen. DeMarcus Ware was smart by
Oh.
going to Denver. Because I'm feeding off of Vaughn. Vaughn is going to be my go-to. We just looking at the coast over again. That's all the coast had with Freeney and Mathis. The same thing. They got the same thing going, but now they got a younger version.
Higher level because Derek Wolfe and
But now that Shane Ray,
Oh,
Shane Ray is going to be that's gonna be
Sheesh.
that Von Miller.
Yep.
And if them two guys can click, you got Wolf. He's starting to come along. So
You got Jackson, who's
Malik
great.
Jack.
yeah.
I mean,
So
Jackson
where they're built for pass rushing. They will always struggle against a rushing team. Like a team that can run will give them hell. But if you let them pin their ears back and just rush the quarterback, I feel sorry.
the speed with which in the 120 minutes, looking back to the Patriots game and now this one, the speed with which he whipped those tackles was, I mean, that's devastating.
that man
You know
was
what's
in
funny?
the
I have to say, because I like the Steelers. Have I mentioned before that I'm a Steelers fan? Has that come up?
No, this
No,
is
no,
new to
no.
us.
Well,
Tell us
I
about
root
it.
for the
I know.
Steelers.
Right. Where
Yeah.
are you from originally?
I'm from. Well, that's part of the reason. I'm
Right.
from Pittsburgh,
Okay.
so I embraced the.
I-
Right.
I went to some of your games, like when you were playing. I went to the Steelers in 2 games completely handled Ware and Von Miller. It's weird if you look at their numbers. I think they had to combine 4 tackles
That's what
against
I'm saying.
against that, but which
If
is
you,
weird.
if you
But
get a team that likes to run, it's going to be trouble. But if you get a team that like to pass all day, man, you got to have 2 solid. I'm talking about damn near Pro Bowl guys outside against Vaughn and company. Because if you don't, man, they're going to give you hell.
Von Miller, that spin move he put on.
Oh, he tore him up.
I mean, and then what he did, I'm trying to think of who it was in the Patriots game where he just, I thought, well, he was offsides. He clearly jumped early. No, go back and look at it. He timed it perfectly and blew by untouched, got to Brady and
That was on
hammered him
Vollmer.
at the goal line. On Vollmer, yeah.
No, it was on Gannon. They brought another tackle and they played tight end.
In that game.
Let's talk.
Can't-
Let's talk quickly here about 18, and I mean,
It's over, Shek. There's nothing to talk about.
I agree, but I mean, he was crummy. He had a bad game. You would expect that he would have a bad game. He threw a couple passes that could have been picked. He was picked. I think he understands that. I don't know what there is to say about it. Clearly, the Broncos. Anybody who would indulge, although I do
But,
hear Broncos fans saying you got to bring back 18, but I
But,
think that's not.
but,
That's a
but,
vapid opinion. You
listen,
can't bring that guy back.
By the end of the day, on his resume, it's not going to talk about his Super Bowl performance.
You're correct. That's right.
It's going to say he's a
There's
2
2 rings.
Super Bowl champion. And we talked about this earlier. Like,
Yep.
we were talking about, man, what if he has a bad game statistically? Like, and I was trying to say it doesn't matter.
Yep.
He win a game. He has 2 Super Bowls, and that's all really people going to look at by the end of the day.
It benefits him more 10 years from now than it does
Right.
now.
Today.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
what you forget are those specifics. As you get away from them, the ring count matters, and we can debate.
And the records.
Right. I mean,
That's
look,
it.
he has all the individual records. He now
Didn't he-
played in, what did he play in?
Did-
5 Super Bowls?
he
Won
broke-
2 of them.
He broke.
Wait, how many?
well,
4
4.
Super Bowls. Sorry.
But didn't he break he broke Favre's record on
Yes.
Super Bowl?
With
I
that,
mean,
that's neat.
so
I mean-
that's listen, Peyton. Okay, listen, Peyton.
Yes, go ahead, Maurice. Tell him.
It-
something.
it's
No,
time-
don't show
it's
video.
time to go
We
to
got to
sleep.
get a single because Maurice has a message.
Maurice has a message for Peyton,
Yeah, I'm
who is a regular listener of this show.
Peyton.
I believe he is.
You've done it all. It's time to go ahead, go home, buy the Tennessee Titans, turn them around. Call me if you need help.
You'll chip in with any questions he might
No
have.
question.
I'll chip in however I need to, financially, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be. I will help you. But don't come back because it's a young man's game, and I don't want to see you limping around this thing because it's going to get serious next year. I promise you.
Just don't offer. That was well done,
Thank you.
and I think that was really nice. And just Peyton, please, and it's enough with the pizzas, right? We're not. We don't.
No, I
want
mean
the-
you can keep doing the pizzas. I don't. Whatever.
But
gotta
you
do.
don't want
if
the
you want him
pizzas
to
around.
buy the Titans, he needs to do the
I know,
pizza
but the
stuff.
2016 Maurice and
Oh, no,
the
yeah, I'm gonna be
2016 Dameshek are slimming down.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want the
I'm about
pizzas.
to slim down, definitely. But I want a piece of that Titans though.
Yeah, not a piece of the
I need a
pizza,
piece
but
of
a
the
piece of
Titans.
the Titans. All right, that's a nice message there. Hey, all right, Black Tie. Yeah, you did say that this is what's going to – you said Bizarro Peyton. You said that in December. I got to tip my hat to you.
No,
And when I'm wrong, I say
it November 17th. November
what a
16th,
weird
All right.
He writes down when he
at
makes
9:24 a.m.
proclamations.
Bold prediction.
You know why you write it down, Black Tie? Because no one else would.
But he didn't do anything. You acted like, he's going to come back and
I
play.
didn't say anything.
No, he was right.
I didn't say
Hey, no. You can't knock Black Tie on that one. He
What
said,
did he say?
along with
I
Ike,
can read it out.
he
Read
and
it out.
Ike,
Read it
he and
out.
Ike
We'll
said
put it
the
up
same
on the
thing. It
screen.
would
I'm
be a
sure
different
you've
Peyton.
got it. I'm sure you got it.
Man,
There.
yeah.
Well, let's not act like he played well in any
That's
game
what I wanted
in
to
the
be
play.
known. Like, he
Right.
didn't.
Didn't say
They
play
had
well.
194 yards of total offense
I
in
know,
a
but
Super Bowl.
Black Tie didn't say he was going
That's
to play
40
well.
yards less than any team has ever had in a Super
Ike and
Bowl.
Maurice, Ike and Black Tie said nothing about how well Peyton was going to play. They said he was going
Yeah, I
to
get
turn
it.
around
You
and
got a
hand the
ring.
ball off,
You got
and
a
they were
ring.
right.
It happened.
Here it is, word for word. Bold prediction. We're in the midst of the Peyton Manning Bizarro season. Worst statistical year. Out to the playoffs. Quarterbacks Broncos Super Bowl 50 and retires.
That's it.
Here it is.
He'd be low.
Facts
though.
only.
It would be, you know,
That
it'd
was
be-
a low, bold. You didn't say they were going to win or anything. You just said they were just going to go to the Super Bowl.
No, I said they're going to win.
I didn't hear that. And when you said it, you were like, they're going to go to Super Bowl 50, and he's going right off in the sunset.
That was the point. That was the intent of the tweet.
I want to say a
Gonna
couple
win.
other things about this Super Bowl because I wrote
He
myself.
put it
some
in
notes.
mumbo sauce on this tweet from 2 months ago.
To me, the three most devastating plays of the game for the Panthers, aside from Von Miller, I'm taking out plays that weren't great efforts by the opponent. Von Miller made some devastating plays that you couldn't handle. T.J. Ward made some significant plays. C.J. Anderson, for all his struggles, did snap off a couple of impressive little runs
Yeah.
there, and so on. But the three plays that are self-made issues that could have swung the game. Jericho Cotchery's drop against Von Miller when he was covering him, that has to be a
Yep.
catch.
Killed me.
And he dropped another one, but the one that would have gotten him down inside the 10. Devin Funchess dropping one over the middle that would have gotten them into the red zone was
Yep.
terrible. He threw
Didn't he tweet me?
Cam threw a strike.
Didn't he tweet us?
He did.
Devin Funchess did tweet.
You don't
at Maurice
respect
and
him
Ike.
enough.
Didn't
Apparently.
he tweet? You're on the biggest stage.
That's why you don't want the lights. A lot of
You're
people ain't
on the
ready for
biggest
lights,
stage.
man.
Can I tell you something? While we were down on the field before the game, and we'll get into that a little bit more, it was a great time. I said to Maurice, here's a man of honor that he is. I said, because the players were talking to Ike and Maurice. Like, the game's about to start. There's like 45 minutes or so before the Super Bowl starts. And they're like, hey, Ike, hey, Maurice, what's happening? Guy like coming over and like, what are you, hey, guys, you're playing in the Super Bowl. I said, oh, we should go visit Devin Funchess and see how he is since you've had some Twitter heat with him. And Maurice said, no, you don't do that.
No, you don't.
You do it to the guys that want to talk to you. You don't you don't try to you don't make yourself the story before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I say that's where you and I part ways.
Maurice is
I-
classy.
That would
Dave?
have been.
No,
very,
I would do it.
That would have been very disrespectful.
It would have been very disrespectful. Even I can see that.
Yeah, you can't do that because then what happens is that drop, they're gonna blame it on us. And I wasn't out there. I don't got the pads on anymore. But he's like, well, I was talking and they were bothering me and I lost focus. No, I can't give you those.
I hear you. The other one is the punt return was crushing because,
Oh.
like I said, they had flipped.
Because they
the
had him there as
It's
well. Two
10-7, right.
people. It's almost
Well,
like
they thought he was gonna fair catch.
right.
10-7. They get the ball back. The Panthers are feeling it. That might have been the spot where they tie or
Yep.
and well, I forgot the other one, the missed field goal.
The missed
goal.
field
That was
goal's
the
big.
biggest one
The
of
other one, which was weird, Ted Ginn caught a pass and took it down the field, and then he had probably like 15 more yards, and he just stepped out of bounds. It was
Yeah.
a weird one.
When I started watching a lot of the things they were doing, it was just little things like that.
Yep.
They just like you don't.
Why'd you do that?
No, when you're in the Super Bowl, you
Selling
sacrifice. You
out.
got to sell out. You got to go get it all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Because
selling
again,
out.
Right.
I had a coach tell me once, like, if you ever get tackled on the 1 yard line, you got to come out of the game because it wasn't important. It wasn't that important enough for you to score because we don't know what's going to happen the next play. I've been in a game where we fumbled the snap. I've been in the game where I fumbled after. I mean, it's just like, wow.
You know what I said? And I like to name drop, so I'm going to bring this up. I was watching the game in the second quarter, early in the second quarter, might even been first quarter, end of the first quarter. Maurice, Ike, and Jarvis Landry was hanging out with us, and Handsome, I know he ended up hanging out with you for part of the game. But we're talking about your Dolphins, by the way. I'll tell you that afterwards, or if we have time, I'll tell you Landry's analysis of his team.
Yeah, he and I got into it during the game as well.
2016. But I said, this is one of those games that it feels unlike any Panthers game we've seen. This is a weird game. Things are not random stuff that you never see happen. Drops happen to the Panthers, but Cam getting strip sacked and defensive touchdowns against them and long punt returns. When things get wonky like that, the game feels different than any game you've been in. You could feel the Panthers sensing that, and I thought it was massive when they got that touchdown, and I thought, all right, now they have their chance here, and that punt return I felt like
and it
flipped
felt like the
back.
momentum was going their way. One other guy, and actually this was from Jarvis Landry, but one other guy that probably deserves some props and definitely won't get it is the Broncos punter. Colquitt was very good at punting away from Ted Ginn and making sure that he didn't. I think he had like 2 punt return yards. I think he just didn't give him an opportunity to make a big play. We're giving him
What,
people
you don't
props.
want
So you don't like the punter getting any? He played
He
defense.
did his job.
He played defense.
He didn't go outside of his job. His job was.
I'm gonna tell you who they missed.
I know who he's. Oh, go ahead.
Brown.
Oh
When
yeah.
Brown got hurt.
Billy Brown.
When Philly Brown
Because
got
he
hurt.
made that big
He
catch.
got hurt on
Nah.
the catch, right?
When Philly Brown got hurt,
He
that
was doing
changed the
damage.
whole.
That was weird because he has not been a factor like that.
And he was
most
the
of
factor
year.
for that game.
Yeah.
Because they really wasn't throwing Harris Jr. Rolling a few, but they was going to leap. Like we looking for him. We definitely looking for him.
There's
When the
Waldo,
man-
right.
But when the man got hurt, it kind of
Boy,
got
by
it.
the way, that was Aqib Talib for all his celebration post-game. Boy, he was out of sorts. I mean, from the get-go. I mean,
He
2
struggled.
personal fouls. That was as violent a face mask as you'll see. He intentionally got him and throws him out of bounds.
Struggles
by
with
it.
quick receivers, and a lot of guys do. And so when you find the matchup, because it's either going to be speed, he's going to have a bigger guy like a Brandon Marshall. He can cover those guys. Speed guys that can't run routes, he can stay over the top. That's not hard. But a guy that can run routes and make you do getting out of breaks and he struggles with that. He's a big corner.
a big corner.
The other thing I wanted to point out about the game was I know it's across the country and everything else, and economic times are difficult for people and everything else, but for whatever, the Panthers fan base turned out as small as any. I've been now to, I think, 7 Super Bowls. That's the smallest turnout by a fan base I've ever seen.
And that was weird because the Broncos who did turn out, there
was
were a lot of
all-
Broncos fans.
Hey.
They didn't show in New York. 2 years ago, I remember saying exactly the same thing. The Seahawks fans showed up
fans were
en masse.
yeah.
They came all the way across the country. No Broncos fans there. From the first snap,
Hey
it was
man, geographically it's hard.
I
The
understand.
economy is hard right now. And then we talk about San Fran. Ain't nothing cheaper San Fran.
Right.
Ain't
That's
nothing, Ain't nothing cheaper San Fran. That ain't nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump.
All
for
right,
the
I'm just
Denver Broncos.
observing.
But
You could drive
you can drive.
from Denver. Yeah.
So how much the ticket costs from Carolina to San Fran to the West? Man, that ticket might be.
I hear you. I'm telling you what I saw with
You know
my
what?
eyeballs.
I saw
It was
the-
all.
I saw the
You
same
know what I
thing you
feel
saw,
like,
but
Shek? I feel like they should make a stadium in the middle of the United States, and that should be where the Super Bowl is held every year.
I'd be
So it could
content.
be-
I think we would all sign off on New Orleans. I think New Orleans would be fine every year. The Steelers Super Bowl, the biggest turnout, the biggest difference was Super Bowl 40 in Detroit, in part because Pittsburghers could get in their car and drive to the Motor City, but that place was entirely black and gold.
Oh, that
day.
felt
that
like a
was
home
crazy.
game.
Yeah, that was
like,
weird.
That felt like
And
a
that
home
was
game.
against Seattle. In Seattle, they have a
They
fan
turn
They
base.
out.
travel well too.
yeah, but their bandwagon hadn't quite got going by that point. A lot of Seahawks fans are like black tie.
Oh,
You know,
yes. Right.
They used to be another team's fan. Now they love
Man,
the Seahawks.
I feel you. That's
All right.
cool.
I want to do a few things, but right now I want to do real quick. I want to show you our personal because we're already talking about it here. Let's get to the DDFP Super Bowl 50 slideshow. And, of course, I arrived on Sunday, and I think everybody here did, right? Sunday was the arrival date here. And, you know, the thing that's great is getting to go out and have some grapes with your friends. Look at this,
Oh,
though.
that's
This
so
was this.
nice.
Now we're jumping to the end here.
We jumped
Super
to the
Bowl.
end.
Hey, that's going
hang
too
on.
fast. That was Monday.
What in the
What are we
Wait
doing?
a
What's happening
second.
here?
Wait a
Who's
second.
in charge
You
of this
gotta pause it.
slideshow?
It's going too fast.
Oh!
Wait a second. Pause it.
No,
Pause it.
stop.
Pause
Keep
it.
it going.
I can't see everything. Look,
Is that
this.
Shek?
Some of our friends.
That's our Belgian friend, podcasting friends from Sports 11.
getting some makeup.
Handsome. That's how he does. He always
That
has
guy
to,
takes a village.
He's a prima donna, the makeup show. Ike and his
Oh.
new friend from Pittsburgh, Jeff Goldblum,
Bro,
fell
he is
very
one
much
of the
in
best
love.
actors ever. Oh, that was the one that looks
Maurice,
like.
our friend Nicole Folia, our
Yeah.
coworker.
Oh,
she
it
looked
looks
exactly
like that's what I thought it was.
I took this at NFL Honors.
That's
Hines and Lynn Swan. Look
Ooh.
at this. There was Steph Curry out on the field supporting his beloved Panthers. Aaron
AR.
Rodgers was there for the thing. Look at handsome Hank's little boy, 5-year-old boy.
He wrote this for school.
Was those your two boys taking a picture?
One of them is Tom Brady's son as well.
I went
Oh,
to the
wow.
Super Bowl.
I had lots
a lot
of fun in San Francisco. I met a football player. His name is Jarvis Landry. The Broncos won. I mean, that really wraps the whole week up.
He
Simple.
was
Hey,
he
that
was
simple.
you know
I like that.
not a lot of 5-year-olds
was
but
just-
that would sit for 4 hours or whatever the whole
He didn't.
experience
He'd still be in the stadium
and
now
he
if we hadn't
loved
dragged
it.
him
I
out of
love talking to
Oh, he loved
Handsome's
it,
little
huh?
boy. Yeah, it was really neat. But to me, so you have to go on YouTube and watch that, or go to
Shek, I also have an
NFL.com/podcast.
exclusive shot of Cam coming out the tunnel pregame.
Yes, I mean I stood. I mean it's crazy. I have to
huge, huh?
say, call it a little bit too saccharine maybe for you. Maybe you won't like this, but I'll tell you something. I got to be on the field at Super Bowl 50 hours and hours before it kicked off with my chums, Handsome, Ike, and Maurice.
Hey, we took a really nice picture as well together.
Yeah,
how
where's
come
that
didn't
picture?
show up? in
I
there?
wanted to lean on each photograph and tell a story about each one. It would have only taken me about 7.5 hours to do. It would have been fine. Hey, I want to show you. You mentioned music there. I want to show you. I thought the coolest thing was the halftime show. Take a look at this real quick. Wait a second, I got confused there. That wasn't.
That's the Sheksters.
That wasn't the halftime
That's
show.
the Sheksters.
That was the
Sheksters?
much better show.
That's the Sheksters.
Yeah, that was a much better show that I saw the preceding Sunday
Bro.
before I boarded the plane. The last thing I saw, that was my, no
his son
disrespect.
was
No
silly.
disrespect to you, but
Seriously,
that was
like-
my highlight of the Super Bowl week, the Sunday that started
Wow.
it before
That's
I boarded
cool.
that. 8-year-old Oprah and 6-year-old Jean-Claude Van Dameshek getting up on the stage at the famous in
And
LA,
rocked it.
El Rey, playing music. And, I mean, you talk about like, well, hey, that's you getting this. I have no idea who those two people were getting up
And
on the stage.
rocked it.
My boy looking like
Nah,
John Entwistle.
nah, he was
for the Who.
serious.
He was serious.
He was serious, and if you watch the whole video through, at the end, the guy, everyone else, it sounds like every other kid was singing a song that was one that was out there. That was she wrote it herself.
Yeah, that was.
What's the title of the song?
I think the name of the song is "This Is a Song About Animals." Oh no, the name of the song is "We Are Not Animals," and
Right.
that there's something in there about take your father by your hand,
Hold your
and
daddy by his hand.
hold your daddy by your
You
hand.
might got something.
Yeah.
You might got something.
You
right.
might
It was.
want to cultivate
might
that.
It was
something
something
right
to
there.
behold, but that was that
Look
was
at him. He's
He's serious. I told you
serious.
he's
He
serious.
John Entwistle up
Right.
there. Boom, 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 boom.
Look at his technique.
Standing up
Look at
there.
his shoulders.
Yep. Doing it.
Yeah,
He made
she
it.
very casually.
She's just letting it go.
Yeah,
Yep.
she was singing. That's what she's supposed to.
There are people rocking at the front.
She's not surprised by her presence on the stage because that's what she's supposed to do
Right.
in her head.
That's right.
I came off the stage. I said, can you imagine? I can't believe what you just did. That was so amazing. She said, yeah, you know what? I hope we can go home and eat my favorite chicken.
Do you know
She
what?
wanted to go eat her favorite chicken.
Do you know what would
That's
be good?
Like, oh, yeah. That's it.
Super Bowl 66, which would fit in here. Those two halftime show.
And your boy running out onto the field as the
Could
starting
happen.
quarterback
Could easily happen.
for the New York Jets. We
No,
cannot.
that wouldn't happen.
You wouldn't
Oh,
let
you
him
can't
play?
control that. That's one thing.
Try.
If
I
he
think
gets
you-
drafted
I would.
by the
You
Jets,
you know who
you
did? Archie Manning.
No, he didn't.
I'd be Archie Manning. He's not. Sorry, he's not going there. San
Archie-
Diego? No, sorry, he's not
Archie
going
could
there.
do
That's
well.
not
If
going to
San
happen.
Diego really wanted to, Eli would have been in San Diego if they wanted it.
Mhm.
But they knew they had another quarterback they can get.
All right. So with that said, Ike and his good words about where we're heading in 2016. are true, but also we will continue to provide you with spellbinding content about the game of football and, more importantly, the game called life all through the offseason. As soon as Thursday, we'll be back with another episode for you. The Shek Report is going to be up in a moment, or maybe is already up there, depending on when you're listening to it. Look for us on YouTube and NFL Now. And I got to say, you know what? With all due respect to Todd Gurley and Marcus Peters, the NFL's real rookies of the year, Ike Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew, stars in the making. They already are as good as it gets, and they're only getting better. And it was, more importantly, like I say, great fun, handsome. Ike, Maurice, Matt Money Smith, everybody else who joined us.
And those guys back there as well.
No.
Let's not forget those guys back there. And I'm with the exception
Handsome.
of Black Tie.
Handsome. They're below the line. We don't
No,
acknowledge.
listen,
You
with
say,
the
like, yeah,
exception
those
of
guys,
Black Tie put himself above the line when for the whole of Super Bowl week he stood for some reason behind a bar
You got
that
to
he
give a
made.
shout out. You got to give a shout out behind the glass.
Right,
crew.
they're
That's what
behind
it's
the
called.
glass crew. Look at those
BTGs.
guys.
No, real
Matt
shout out.
G.
A
to
couple
Matty
of them
G.
is out.
Hey.
Yeah, Will. Y'all them
Yeah.
guys
The
from
The
the
God's
BTGs.
Kid, Will Pyle, Black Tie. Oh, we saw Brandon McGee,
Yeah.
Sully, Emma, everybody who worked on the show
Yeah,
during
exactly.
the year there.
R.I.P.
Shout out.
Black Tie.
R.I.P.
Well, they're not here anymore.
BTGs,
Yeah.
behind the glass crew.
But it's been a wonderful time, and like I say, we're on to bigger stuff as 2016 moves along here. You can watch us in video, in fact, because I'm going to the
Man, I
combine.
thought
I
we
know
was
Ike
going
and
to top
Marissa.
defense of all time.
I wanted to do top defense of all time too. Well, Ike's not
Ike
going to be
show.
here, Black Tie. Ike, let him say it.
Yeah, quick tease.
What's up?
Top defense that you've ever
The
seen.
top three.
Even if you were on it, you can be immodest and say that.
2008.
2008 is up there, but I don't want to bring up a sore subject. In the fourth quarter, you gave up the lead.
What that say? Who won it? Who won the game?
Statistical analysis of the greatest defenses in NFL history is a piece up. I'm not sure where that's from. Listen, I'm aware of how good the 08 defense was, but in the fourth quarter, they gave up the lead. The Broncos won. The knock I'll give on them is that it's a minor knock. The Steelers did rally in a big way and put up 30-some on them in late in the season, and that almost cost them the division, that game. But I guess teams can have a letdown here and there over the course of the season. Certainly in the postseason, that Broncos defense ranks
What that's
all
right.
time there.
Imp-
I don't know. I don't care what what your cell phone says. Ike Taylor's. Tell me what you think.
We was ranked number 1 in yards and points.
All right. How about you, Handsome? Best defense you've seen?
I think, I didn't see as much of them. I think the 85 Bears are there. I think it's hard. Like 2 years ago, we were talking about the Seahawks like that.
85 Bears.
Well, Adam Rank and others will always point out that, in fact, the 86 Chicago Bears defense was statistically superior. Obviously, numbers lie sometimes. But
Well, you're talking about Super Bowl champion, or I thought we were.
Well, the 76
They only
Steelers, who
played
I didn't
14 games,
see, that was a great, an all-time great defense that came up short in the title game against the Raiders. The Ravens, yeah, we'll go into it all, but Maurice, you said something just before we started here. We'll delve into that. Let's not do a Cliff's Notes version.
13.9 points per game.
All right, I saw it.
That's low.
13.9.
Oh, that was also a cool thing though too, because I
But
mentioned
that was not dragging along that offense that the Broncos defense had to carry
13.9.
the whole way through the season.
they had no wiggle.
They had nothing to like. If you didn't stop the other team, forget it. They're not going to
They
score
don't win
more
the game
than 20
if they don't
points.
get the defensive touchdown in
Right.
the Super Bowl and many other victories they had over the course of the season with
13.9
defensive touchdowns.
That's all you get.
All right, I respect it. It's very good. But you know what else was one more cool little thing that happened down on the field was Larry Fitzgerald showing up. And I said, wow, look at this. And I did snap a picture of that one and said, last time you two were on a Super Bowl field together, Larry Fitzgerald and Troy and Ike Taylor were chasing one another and like, oh, that's the last time you two were on a field. And Larry.
That's how I knew his hands were strong, because I had my hand on that ball, and he managed to.
Oh, really? That one over the middle.
No, I'm talking about in the end zone.
Oh, that.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
He managed to. He didn't move it. I said, "This son of a gun."
You didn't say that. You said something else.
Yeah, I said something. I said, "This son of a gun."
I remember the look on your face at the time. I remember thinking, I remember you getting up from that play, watching it live, and thinking, there's nothing 24 could have done on that one. I remember you're looking up in the replay, looking up like you stood up like, he held on to that ball.
He did.
What happened? I mean, nothing else I could do. That really was.
He
You had your
wanted it
hands
more
on the
than me.
ball.
He wanted more than me. Guess what? I got my ring.
Larry Fitzgerald, another nice guy, though.
Another
Great
great
dresser
dresser too.
Phenomenal.
He's very good.
Great dresser.
All right, let him know on the Fashion Popo. Real quick, Maurice, before you go, before you take a nap in your chair there, you made one very strong statement. Von Miller, best defender you've ever seen.
I'd have to say that he's the most versatile. He can cover receivers. He can cover tight ends. He can rush the passer. He can play zone. He can play man. You know, a lot of guys we talk about, like, I never got a chance to really watch Derek Thomas, but I know he was a tremendous pass rusher. I don't know if he could cover.
With all respect to Derek Thomas, I've always said he is the doppelganger as much as any. I mean, really, it's like looking at Derek Thomas out on the field. But, yeah, he might be a little more versatile.
It's hard to ask
a defensive end to cover.
A defensive end who can put his hand in the ground or outside 3-4, a linebacker to stand up to go cover. And the man can go cover.
LT, best defender I've ever seen.
It's a different question. If it's best defender, then you're talking about the impact he had on every play and every game. But versatile's a different question. I think they're two different things.
No, they're not. Because you got to remember, if we knew every time LT was in the game, he was rushing.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't. He dropped. He dropped every now and then, but it wasn't like he was rushing. They put Von Miller on a receiver,
and
they threw the ball, which is the correct read, and he knocked it out.
Boy, it is funny that Wade did that in 2 straight games. Like, hey, go ahead and throw it. Go ahead. You want to
drop them back with Gronk?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Gronk,
make the pass. Our pass rush is going to get to you before you're going to be able to throw the perfect ball up the side. You're going to let it go a second before you want to there. I'd also mean Joe Green. You watch him in his prime. You guys are too young to have watched him, but if you see him in his prime, the key is if you see the gray face mask on the Steelers and 75s on the field, watch what a destroyer he is. He is in the backfield all the time. You know one other guy who's on the rise? Aaron Donald. Talk about disruptive. Yep. That guy is in the backfield every play.
On his way.
Yep. Anyway, all right, listen, I put a bow on it there. I just wanted to get that stuff in because I don't know when we're going to have Ike and Maurice back in, but I do know that we're going to kibitz and hang out in Indianapolis, so be on the lookout for that.
Yes.
Good times coming your way. St. Elmo's Steak. That's what we're going to go get, right, Handsome?
Yes, definitely.
You ever had
come
that?
with us?
Never had it, but I'm with it.
All
right, let's do it.
The shrimp cocktail.
Shrimp cocktail's hot.
Maurice won't like that because it's very spicy. Very spicy.
I don't do spicy.
Anyway, great times all through the season, fellas. There's more to come for you, the listener, for you, the viewer. We appreciate you checking out all our work throughout the 2015 season into 2016. One last time, let's hear Ike's song.
Number 24 is in the house. Ike Taylor's on the show.
I like that yee at the end. All right, now let's leave with the new and improved one. Thanks, Maurice. Thanks, Handsome. Thanks to everybody behind the glass. Thanks for watching and listening all season long. We'll be back on Tuesday with another one. In the meantime, take it away, one-man house band Dick Banks.
Born in Gretna, that's in New Orleans. Walked down in college, drafted to PA. Number 24 has got opinions for days. Iketelor, Ike Taylor.